How you doing, Doris?
Doing superb, Rich. A little bit surprised at the outcome yesterday. It feels like the Celtics climbed way out of a hole only to really just not be able to make shots yesterday. And I wonder how much, Rich, the Tatum injury early, obviously first play, sort of weighed on the team. I thought, and I don't know what you guys thought, but one of the things I thought immediately was Jaylen Brown started to press a little bit. I think he knew his teammate wasn't right. I think he knew he sort of couldn't push off, make his normal moves. And in pressing a little bit, he had just a horrible night. Turnovers kind of reared their head. It's been a weakness of his. I can't get in their heads, but did you have any inkling that sort of maybe had any impact on the group?
Well, the first inkling I had was when you were pointing out, because, again, I was listening to you on Monday night when Tatum came out with 4 minutes to go in the first quarter. And you're like, okay, well, like, what's up with that? Like, this is game 7. Mm-hmm. Now, that means there's something significant here. Like, he's not just going to walk it off or, if you will, rub dirt on it. This is significant. And you and Dave Pasch caught wind of that right away. And I thought this has all the makings. Tatum hurt, bad 3-point shooting, and turnover problems. That's the bugaboo for the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. And he has played throughout the course of the last couple series, the first 12 minutes. It's very rare that they lift him earlier, and Dave, to his credit, was all over it. He kept hitting it throughout the course of the broadcast. And, it's the Miami Heat fascinate me. And I had asked Erik Spoelstra prior to the game, I said, we as an announced team, we're not playing, but we're following you guys around on planes, trains, and automobiles. And this feels long. And can you give me a sense of what you're thinking? And he told us, Rich, that before the game yesterday, there was a downtime and the coaching staff is all together, just sort of relaxing. Now, they've dropped 3 straight, right? You've had heartbreak after heartbreak, and you've just lost game 6 in that fashion. And he said, I guess he posed the question to his staff, if you weren't in sports, what would you be doing? And not one of the staff could come up with a place they'd rather be despite what they had experienced. And watching Erik after game 6, seething at that press conference, like, we want to tip it up right now. And I thought he was magnificent yesterday as a coach. I really did. There's a reason that guy was named top 15 in the 75, now 76-year history of the league. His switching defenses alternating between that 3-2 zone that gave Boston fits and the man-to-man, and just really, listen, they gave up threes. They gave up some open threes. I know Boston was 2 for 11 on open threes. And as you guys were noting when you were just in break and just doing your TV show, those shots don't fall. They feel totally different, and it's been a problem all year. I do wonder, and I do think Joe Mazzulla is a hell of a young coach, and he took a lot of criticism, at times appropriate, but I think he's a hell of a coach. I wonder, does he now maybe take a hard look at we need to be more diverse offensively? Malcolm Brogdon in January had an interview where they were in a rough stretch, and he said, we can't be exclusively 3-point based. Sometimes we require more diversity to our offense. So I'll be curious about that next year.
Doris Burke here on the Rich Eisen Show. Let's linger on Spoelstra a little bit, because you just mentioned some of his tactical in-game decisions as well as his preparatory conversations after 3 losses that got the team on the brink and everybody thinking this is just a formality. The Celtics were going to pull off the first ever 0-3 hole dig out in the history of the NBA. But the thing that fascinates me, Doris, is all of these undrafted players playing not only well individually, but cohesively as a unit. How does he pull that off? Because this doesn't just happen magically, no matter how, of an eye Pat Riley may have and the rest of the evaluators for the Heat. How does Spoelstra do this? What do you got for me?
I think they have an exceptional scouting staff. That's number one. And then I think their player development staff is excellent. And one of the things, and see, this reminds me a little bit of Denver in that winning, I don't care what level you're talking about or what sport, it's not just an accumulation of talent. That's important. You're not winning without stars. I get it. But there's also something to roster construction. And identifying guys who fit in your culture and have the kind of character you're looking for. And the first thing they want, Rich, they want, and excuse the way I'm going to phrase this, they want some badass competitors. They want guys who are comfortable being uncomfortable, who don't mind taking the fight to their opponent. The development of Duncan Robinson, he made a play. I can't remember what game it was. But the feel he has with Bam Adebayo in their little two-man game, and you could hear it in my call when I was like, Duncan Robinson, the playmaker, he comes off the screen, gets into the teeth of the paint, and throws a lob pass to Bam Adebayo. I was stunned. And Eric was almost annoyed with me the next day when I was sort of expressing shock. He was like, Doris, he goes, he's done that 1,000 times in practice. Like, this is part of who the kid is. That's my failure to recognize that growth and development. Gabe Vincent, one thing you know about Gabe Vincent, that guy's a fearless shot taker. If that ball finds him on rotation because they're loading up to Jimmy and Bam and making those two guys play in the crowd, I don't care the situation. I promise you, Gabe Vincent's going to be a confident shooter and let that thing fly. I think people tire of the Miami Heat culture word. I do believe it is a real thing.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.